Hello everybody, and welcome to your Thursday lighting critique here at the Academy of Animated Arts. Alright, you guys may have caught me a little bit. I've been watching and listening to a Harry Potter Nocturne Alley playlist on YouTube as I've been working today, and now I'm in a weird mood. So now you're all down that road with me. Let's go ahead and shut this off here real quick. So hi, and welcome everybody to your Thursday lighting critique. It's great to have you here. So we just got a few submissions for today. A couple quick things off the top, though, that I do want to mention. Number one, very excited for our interview today at 4 o'clock with Abel Vargas. Abel is going to be teaching our Katana Lighting and Look Dev workshop. Great guy. Excited for you to meet him. Katana is a really cool program. Would allow you to make some amazing images, so I'm excited to bring that to the table a little bit. Also, another reminder, I am out of commission tomorrow. I'm going to have a quick oral surgery. I say quick, like that's more for me than anybody else, but so I won't be able to do the critiques tomorrow, and I'll pick up again on Monday. I think that's it. And yeah, let's get into the critique a little bit. So let's go alphabetically. So Cleber, let's start off with your panda character here. So a couple things about this one right off the bat. The number one is like, this is our, it looks like, this is our straightforward, super beauty lit character. You're choosing to light from behind, which is totally fine. But when you do that, what you want to do is I always like to creep the light in a little bit more around onto the face a little bit, just because you're kind of painting yourself in a corner a little bit when you don't do that, because then you're forced to really create all the shaping in the fill value, which isn't like undoable, but like if you're not pinned down by an environment telling you that like the sun is like right back here, you can inch it around and it does not influence, it doesn't hurt the audience at all. Like it's just, they just want to see this character looking as good as it can. So I would creep the key light around a little bit more on the face. Like you can still keep it behind, but I would start there. Secondly, the key light looks like it's very, what I always like to call crisp, which is like a very small radius. And on a character like this with a big, like, think about the, we talk in the character class about the hero shape of the character. Like this character is all circles, right? Like it's all just like rounded shapes. So you want to emphasize that shape with a nice soft light to play off that role. So what we're seeing here is just like a very bright light that's hitting very small regions. Like there's not a lot of fall off. So I would make sure that that's a nice, I would even, because it's like a studio lighting, I would even make it like a nice big area light that's coming in there, and allow that to work its magic. The struggle with this character too is going to be the fur color. So like really, like you're gonna really need to go in there and balance that color a lot. I would recommend setting up an RGB mat based on the fur color if you can, and just make the white fur like the red channel and the black fur the blue channel, and that will allow you to really adjust that, because what I'm seeing on the face is there's like three issues going on. One, I would like maybe the fur around the eyes to get a little bit darker. Number two, in here, the fur is getting a little bit both too saturated and a little bit too dark. I would like for this to be a little bit whiter. And then the third one is the fur on this side of the face is blowing out a little bit. Do you see how that's getting very bright over there? So you can't control that in the lighting as best you can, but you will, because the white characters are so finicky, is that you will have to kind of like push and pull those values a little bit here in the comp. On top of that, I would also work at, getting some more shaping on the limbs. If you look at the arm here, it's pretty flat. This one too, and then coming across the legs here, that will really help as you bring that light around. You can trickle some more light here, some more light around the arm, some more light around the leg, and that'll really do some wonders. The last two things, watch out for this. It looks like an alpha line around the edge here. Watch out for that, and also go ahead. The background is so consistent that it would be really nice to throw in a shadow down here too, just to kind of tie that all together and really ground the character into this space as well. So yeah, so wrap the key light around, get that matte to really balance the whites of the furs, get more shaping on the limbs, and I think that's it. Oh, and watch the crispness of the key light, and I think that's it. All right, Drew. So great first pass at this. Again, looking at the Nocturne Alley. So Kevin made a really, really good point in the channel I was just reading, and which is basically like early on when you're lighting, you're a little afraid to push values brighter, and that's one of the reasons why having reference is so powerful, right? Because there's a lot of lights going on in this scene. There's like a bunch of little points where light is being emitted from here, and they're all kind of coming together into the space. We don't necessarily need that many, but what they do is they tell us kind of a story of how those lights will look. And what we know is that their core value, whenever you see the source itself, it goes really, really bright, like white bright. There is a little variation where it gets brighter right around the source. There's these lens flares that are pinging out like bling, bling, bling. And they're really like what you're seeing right around where they shine is very bright too. Like when there's an object very close to that, like a wall. Additionally, you really want to like look at these specular highlights on the ground, right? These are very cool, and they're what they're doing is they're between the camera and the object. Like it's like a straight line between those two. So that's something else that we want to pick up on. So this light can go brighter. This is looking pretty good there, but like the core value of that overall can go brighter. Like let's look at like these lights here. You don't really see the edge of them. You don't really see any transparent points. What you do see is that this is very like this whole thing is glowy with a little bit of a indication of a light bulb in the middle there. This is very bright. I would fade this off a little bit more so it's a little larger and a little softer on the edge. But the biggest one is you really want to start, and this camera angle is a little different. It's a little lower to the ground, or much lower to the ground, but you can still kind of get the same idea of getting some specular highlights down here from that light, between the light and the camera. And same thing coming down this alleyway. Like it looks like there's a light kind of coming down there. Let's pay attention to that one versus, let's say, this one. Look how bright that is down there, and really kind of telling the story with some, again, additional specular highlights. So I would push up the value of that, allow some specular light to spill in this area here. And then I would almost just keep this. I was going to say if you want to do that back in this alley too, but like that might be, play with it a little bit. You may want to do that, but if my gut would be just to make this dark back here. So this green light, same thing. We've got this super bright source. Like let's give this a source in there. It doesn't have to be the whole window, but let's imagine there's like a sign back behind the curtain, and then it's shining out this way. Let's see. Yeah, specular highlights on the ground. Yeah, for the light to reach all the way over there through the window, through the curtains, this source of it would need to be much, much brighter. So brighten that up, push that over there. And, I did mention to say this too. So like one of my things that I do when I'm first looking at an image, and this isn't always, a couple things. Number one, the easiest thing is I just open the levels in Photoshop. And what you want is usually you want like a pretty good range. I mean, this is a night scene, so having more darks is fine. But what we're seeing here is like, the bottom 20% is the majority of our values. And then we've got a little bit here in the middle and then a tiny bit towards the top. It's, you don't, like I said, you don't want it to be like this because then it won't look like nighttime, but you want a little bit more, you want a little, like, I think that this distribution is good, but you want some more in these mid values and a little bit more variation up here near the tops. And if you want to look at it visually, another way that I do that is by looking at the luminance of a scene. And a lot of people make this mistake, by the way, of just like taking the saturation way down and thinking like, oh well, and now I'm just looking at the luminance. That's not always gonna be what you want to do. Because it'll actually give you a false read on it. It'll look like luminance and really, because like a mid-tone yellow. You know what? Let me just try and see if I can mock this up here real quick. So like this mid-tone of a very bright yellow, in terms of luminosity, is very bright. But let's see if we can like. Versus like, I don't know, do this. like this value, which, you know, if you look at it, this yellow is much brighter than this. But if I just take down the saturation, it actually doesn't, like, it looks like the right side is actually brighter than the left side, which isn't right. So what we do is, another trick to that is you throw a black screen on top and then you mix it using the, where's it? Oh, I always lose it. Oh, the color one. So now you can see that this left side, you know, this is a better read on luminosity than just, go ahead. Oh. Why is that not letting me do it? There we go. Sorry. So like again, this is this is the luminosity of this. This is it being desaturated, and then this is the actual luminance value. So this is what we're looking for. Okay, so we want to drop in the black object on top here. We want to use the color blend operation to get an idea of the luminance. And like, that's true that this is nice and bright and that's going to draw our attention. But like, if you look at the rest of the scene, it's all pretty consistent. Like this is a little bit brighter, but we really want to pull out the dynamic range and like the full value range in the image there. So that's what I would work on next. So, but great start, and you inspired me to listen to movie theme music all day, which is a very common thing that happens. All right, Nigel. Yes, I agree. This is looking much better. We're making more and more improvements every single day. You were talking about the eyelashes. You're going to make those darker. That's cool. But one thing I did want to point out was that you don't necessarily, like, whenever I do eye reflections, I always do 2 eye reflections. One is of the actual geometry, you know, where like I would have the eyes turned to like a perfect reflective material, and then just turn every object in the scene to turning off their primary visibility and only showing up like in reflections and refractions. And then I also do a reflection pass, same thing, but with the character turned off, and then like an image map of, you know, so it would be what the character is seeing in the scene around it when I don't actually have geometry for it. So it'd be like a photograph of, you know, HDRI map of a city or a market right around the character that can be reflected in the eyes. And then I comp those in together. So when you're doing that, you can take, like, if you're finding that the gray eyelashes are a little bit distracting, you can tone those down or blur them a little bit. And the audience is very, very forgiving on eye reflections. So just one thing there. Okay. So looking at the image, I think she's looking, I think her arm is looking really good. I like that specular highlight. It might be a little too strong, so I would tone that down. Same thing with her skirt here, or her, I don't know what the name of this garment is. It like wraps around her, the yellow bits. So the specular highlight is it's great that it exists, but it feels a little bit bright, and I would tone that down just a little bit. If you can get more shaping into this, into her headpiece, that would be ideal too, because it's pretty flat feeling, and then it's really good that the value inside here is really good. Like, it's nice that it's not like totally creating a deep dark shadow, but if there is light passing through this, I would want to see more of that purple influence onto her white hair there. I want to figure out a way. So I want to tie in this area a little bit more, because this is like, she's looking at these flowers in particular, and they're very important. So I'm wondering if, like, these flowers in here can definitely go a little bit brighter. These up towards the top look good, but these in here can go brighter and really kind of draw the attention. Same thing with the string here in the shadow. I'm also wondering if it wouldn't benefit us to put a little like gobo cast shadow over here in the foreground too, just to kind of get us up in that region as well. Yeah, I would try that. And additionally, there's some light that's causing, it's probably the sunlight. I would just soften the sunlight a little bit. I'm seeing some hard line shadows. which aren't bad, but like I think in this scenario, I would soften it a little bit to add a little more softening onto the character. And I think that'll help too. Yeah, so the string a little brighter, flowers a little brighter, more softening on the key light, taking down the specularity in her arm, maybe adding a little bit more specularity under her skin, getting that purple spill from in here. If you're doing a gobo down here, you could also trickle it up in there. And his color looks better on the shadow back here. That does look a lot nicer. And I would start with there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I wanted to throw in, but I think that will be a really good step for you for Monday to try and do that. And then, as always, adding a little bit of like softness diffusion over the top of this will really kind of help set her into. We'll do two things. One, it'll help set her into the space, and two, it will add a little bit more of that like warmth, kind of glowiness to the scene, where it just kind of is, it feels like a bright sunny day. Like if you take this and you can even balance it up a little bit warmer. Too much, but that kind of like heat, moisture in the air kind of a thing. So this is very rudimentary, but you get the idea. So that's it, and I would continue on from there. All right, Sylvain. Yeah, totally agree. I love the haze around here. I like this a lot better that you're darkening as we go to the screen right side. Trying to think if there's anything else. I think this is looking pretty good otherwise. I would maybe try just upping a little bit on that light a little bit more as it's trickling down there. The only other thing I was thinking about, totally up to you, would be adding some moonlight from the back over here just to create a little bit of rim on the back of the house and maybe a little bit here on the trees. But I don't think that, I think that might be unnecessary because I really, really like what you have. So, yeah, because I guess there's more moonlight coming in from the screen right side. Yeah, it's fine. Just keep that in darkness. I really like the haze that you've got over it. I would just maybe push this a little more and see if you like that. But other than that, I would call this one done. Really beautiful job, man. Plop it on your demo reel. Call it a day. Okay, well, that is it for today. Let's play us out with a little more music, and we will go in from there. So thank you guys so much again for all of your support as we make the transition over into Discord. You guys have been great. In fact, there wasn't even like a single post in the Facebook group, which I was very impressed with. I am much slower to change than you guys are. You are embracing things with open arms. All right, but that's it for today, and I will see you a little later at the Q&A with Abel Vargas.